What does your favorite Epic the Musical song say about you according to a psychology graduate student? Hi, Epic fandom. How are we doing? Yeah, that's what I thought. I've been right there with you. I ugly sobbed in the park. My dogs were concerned. And then I got a cold, so I've been recovering. But because I am a woman of my word and you have been so patient, I come here to deliver what I promised with 600 strike and what it says about you. Now, in the obvious Camp 1, you just wanted to see Odysseus win something. He's been through too much. You wanted to see the badassery of him standing up to Poseidon, finally snapping and finally having enough. The open arms era is over. He tried one more time with Poseidon being like, maybe you could learn to forgive, and then it was done. It was over, and Odysseus was here. He was here to claim Odie was gone, Odysseus is here. There will be no survivors. Camp number 2. Hello, fellow veterans. Anyone who has served in the armed forces, anyone who has left at a very young age, probably 18 or 19, to defend your country, protect your family, face incredible circumstances, made some incredible friends along the way, and ultimately left with a pain that no one else is going to understand. How are you? I'm right there with you. The ways that this song hurt me, there was no comparison. I thought Love in Paradise was bad when he was on the cliff. I thought there's no way. There's absolutely no way that Mr. Jalapeno can hurt us more with PTSD than he did with that song. Oh boy, was I wrong. And that's a rare occurrence. So when he is saying, how does it feel to be helpless? How does it feel to know pain? I watched my friends die in horror. That hit us in a different way. Now, you don't have to be a veteran or a first responder, police officer, firefighter, medical, whatever. You don't have to be these jobs to experience PTSD. It is a wide range. You can get PTSD from being in a car accident. You can get it from an abusive relationship. You can have many different triggers, and there's not a specific stance you have to take. And yet you are a person who will compare yourself to other people and say, well, my trauma wasn't that bad. I mean, compared to everybody else, I'm okay. I'm just being dramatic. How often have you thought that about yourself? And even more so, how often have other people told you that your problems didn't matter and you were just being dramatic? This was a song for people who identified with the line, look what you've turned me into. Because you know exactly who you were before the trauma happened and who you have had to become. Sometimes you have to become colder. Sometimes you have to shut yourself off from people. You had to put up walls because we are not born with them. When you are a kid, you are open and happy. You might be shy, there's lots of shy kids, but you don't have the distrust in humanity that you learn through getting hurt, through getting pushed, through getting broken in specific ways. But just because you feel broken, it doesn't mean you are. Being broken implies that you are something that can be discarded, something that can be thrown out, that you are trash. You are not that, my darling. You matter. You are not broken. You are hurt, and hurt people can be healed. Camp 3 is similar to Camp 1, but a little bit deeper, because Camp 1 people just like the entire vibe of the song. They were there for the big, huge opening, especially if they watched the animation with it, with the jetpack and everything. It was a video game. They were stoked. They were screaming. They were so into it. They were having a great time. And then it shifted and you slid into Camp 3. Camp 3 are people who felt so overcome by emotion watching this because you know exactly what it feels like to be helpless. And you know exactly what it feels like to be in this position, not obviously facing off of a god, but having to stand up to someone who has hurt you so deeply. A lot of the camps are kind of intertwined in this one, but there are distinct differences. In Camp number 2, there's PTSD. There's feeling yourself close off from the world. In Camp 3, it was people who were right back in the scene. You had flashbacks and how good it would feel, and yet how terrifying to stand up to the person who hurt you. That person should not have hurt you. I know that seems like such a obvious statement, and yet you sincerely believe, at least a small part of you, that you did something wrong. And if you don't believe that, that's wonderful. If you can leave that situation and say, it was all them, I didn't do anything wrong, that's incredible, and I'm so happy for you. But there are a vast majority of people who will blame themselves for what happened to them. You will blame yourself because you were weak, you were stupid, you were something. There's always something wrong with you. Something that made a person decide that they could come into your life and hurt you, that you didn't see the signs when everybody else did. When everyone else said that it was a red flag, you said, no, you just don't know them the way that I know them. You just don't care about them the way that I care about them. Baby, no one should hurt you like that. It did not need to happen, and I'm so sorry that it did. And you know exactly how it would feel to stand in front of them and say, it wasn't my fault. How could you do this to me? How could you hurt me? Someone should have kept you safe, especially if you were a kid. It wasn't your fault that this happened to you. There are monsters in this world, and sometimes they seem overwhelming. And how cathartic it felt to watch Odysseus be in front of this god and stab again and again and say, look what you turned me into. Look what I've become. There is a therapeutic tactic. It's Gestaltian therapy where you sit with an empty chair. If you don't have the courage to say, or not even the courage, if you're just not ready to say what you need to your abuser, or just to say what you need to say to somebody who doesn't listen to you, or you're not quite sure what to say yet, you take an empty chair and you sit there and you kind of role play what you would say. And a lot of people find that to be really cathartic. There was a little bit of that happening while watching it on the screen. You put yourself in Odysseus' position, you were right back where it happened, and you said, how dare you do this to me? How dare you put these trust issues into me? How dare you put this fear into me? How dare you make me a victim? And I'm in camp 3. I understand exactly how that feels. And when you're faced with that kind of odds, you either run away from it or you decide that you'll become the most dangerous person in the room. But my darling, it is okay. It's okay to get help. It's okay to talk to the people around you. You don't have to do everything by yourself. You don't have to be this great superhero with a jetpack that comes in and solves the problem. The problem should have never happened. There are a lot of people that love this song just because it's a good song, just because they love to see the grandness of it, the epicness of it. But I think that if this is your favorite song, other than just watching Odysseus win something finally, you put yourself in his shoes and you stood up to the person who has hurt you so badly, who turned you into what you are today. And that may be a person that when you look in the mirror, you're not exactly sure you like who that is. I like who you are. I'm so thankful that you're here. I love your comments. I love interacting with you. I'm so proud of you. From the deepest part of my heart, I am so proud of you. Thank you for staying here. Thank you for staying in this world because it really is a much, much brighter place with you in it. You are safe, you are loved, and you are wanted. And I'll see you in the next part. Stay classy, my darling.